In this video, we're going to talk about practical tips for you, the marriage mentor. Here's the first tip. Be a good listener. This is really important for you as the marriage mentor. We can get very uncomfortable in these situations and feel like we have to have all the answers and feel like we always have to have something to say. But remember, be a good listener in the marriage mentoring experience. The more you listen, the more you're going to hear from the heart of the couple that you're mentoring. And I think it's good to remember, they're the experts on the relationship. They know what the struggles are. So be listening to what their perspective is so that you know what you need to share with them, what wisdom, what insight, what other resources online that they need to hear about. So remember, be a good listener. Here's the second tip. Ask questions for clarification. I think a lot of times when we get in conversations with people and maybe the couple's going to be emotional about something they're sharing in their marriage of a frustration or a hurt they've had. And maybe they're kind of going on and on and on, and you're kind of losing track of where they're going or what the point of what they're sharing is all about. Don't be afraid to ask questions for clarification. That's going to be really important. If you're really going to help mentor and come alongside a couple and help them, then you got to understand where they're coming from. So if you're confused, maybe their spouse is confused. Maybe even they're confused about what they're trying to say. So don't be afraid to say, okay, hold on, let's stop for a second. Can I ask a couple questions? I'm not sure I understand what you meant by this. Don't be afraid to ask questions. That's better than you trying to pretend like you understand what's going on and miss the opportunities to provide insight for them because you didn't really track with what they were saying. Here's the third tip. Be ready to speak the truth in love. So here's what I mean by that. When you're in a marriage mentoring situation, both couples come to an understanding that you, the marriage mentoring couple, are coming alongside and helping to lead this other couple, right? And we've talked about that in the marriage mentor training about how you're just helping lead conversations to help them build into their marriage. So don't be afraid then, as the mentoring couple, to speak truth when you need to. Don't feel like you're have to walk on eggshells about that because both of you came into it with the understanding that you were going to be mentoring them along. So it's going to be important that you have the confidence to say in a moment, you know what? I think you might be wrong on that, or I think you might be misunderstanding your spouse on this, or here's what the Bible says about this particular issue, that you're prepared and ready and feel confident to say, I need to offer the truth, and I need to do it in a kind way. But part of my mentoring responsibility is to lead sometimes with a truth that needs to be told, that a couple or a spouse needs to understand that their perspective is wrong. Here's the next tip. Be ready to be the referee when necessary. Now, here's what I mean by that. Again, sometimes in a mentoring relationship, the couple's going to be sharing personal things they're upset about, things that are hurtful to them. And sometimes when we share emotional things, our voices might rise, our body language might get a little bit more stiff, and it can create a dynamic of this person's really upset. Sometimes it might even be yelling and becoming aggressive with what they're saying. They might be using words of being critical of their spouse. Whatever the case may be, as the marriage mentor, you need to be ready to blow the whistle like a referee and say, okay, you know what? I think we need to stop. Let's take a deep breath. Let's slow down. You need to bring them back to that place of yelling or making accusations. Those are not productive behaviors to having a healthy conversation. And don't be afraid to call foul. Don't be afraid to say that's not healthy for our conversation. So maybe we need to take a break for a few minutes, or maybe we need to come back to this the next time and give everyone more time to think about this. But you've got to be ready as the marriage mentor that if things start to escalate, that you're not afraid to say this isn't helpful, especially if you see one spouse getting upset and the other one's body language start to shut down, then you know for sure that this conversation isn't going in a healthy direction. And so be ready to referee when necessary. Here's the last tip. Make sure that you evaluate the process as you go. And here's what I mean by that. As you're in this mentoring relationship, if it's having a positive effect, then you're going to see that both individually, the people in the couple are growing and changing and maturing, and that their marriage is growing, changing, and maturing. That's when you know this mentoring relationship is working, that they're responding, that they're thinking and applying truth into their lives, and that's the goal in the end. But if you feel like you're working with a couple that maybe A, never comes prepared for their meetings, and you're fighting harder for the marriage than they are, other times it might be that you get stuck on the same issue every time you get together, that no matter what video or topic you bring for discussion, it always comes back to this one issue. Maybe one of the spouses in that couple, maybe they have some personality traits or a way that they communicate that always seems to derail the situation. Your job as the marriage mentor is to evaluate, is this relationship working? Are we moving forward in mentoring with this couple or not? If you feel like you're getting stuck time and again by any of those examples that I gave, then that might be your time to evaluate and to say to the couple, you know what, I think maybe this issue is beyond what we're able to help you with. And we want to find a good professional referral for you. Or you might say, you know what, it seems like we're getting stuck on this particular issue. Maybe we need to take a break and individually you guys go talk to a professional counselor or to your pastor and work on those issues and then come back to the marriage. But don't be afraid as marriage mentors to evaluate if the process is working. And if you're feeling like it's not working, it's okay to say, I don't think that our mentoring relationship is really moving you forward, and here are the reasons why. And so here's what we're going to do. And doesn't mean that you're a failure as a marriage mentoring couple if you feel like you need to stop and say, something's got to change because this isn't working. The goal at the end of the day is for couples to grow and to be healthy in their marriage. And there are going to be reasons why some couples are not able to do that. So feel empowered as the mentoring couple to evaluate and to say, maybe we need to make a change.